Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary in the lot recently?
Or is it something more?
Let's try to find it that we've been looking for.
There are some folks who had some kind of unusual experiences.
Yet another Stephen King adaptation, Salem's Lot. This time they decided to drop it just on Max. And according to a lot of people, that's good because they didn't care for this, but personally for me, I enjoyed it. Now, let me just pitch you this. It's a Stephen King adaptation, and it's being produced by James Wan. Right there, you want to go see it. You immediately want to go see it. And that's actually, I didn't find out about James Wan until later. Until like 5 minutes before watching it. And I was like, oh wait, he produced this? And then I went back and looked at the trailer. I'm like, oh yeah, this looks very much like a Conjuring look to it. Like something like you would see from James Wan. Like a Conjuring and Malignant kind of look to it. So, if you don't know the story of Salem's Lot, it is the town of Salem's Lot is basically run by vampires, and there's a group of townspeople that are trying to survive it. Now, first off, I will say the cinematography was pretty cool. I liked some of the shots. Like, there's a shot in the trailer that I liked quite a bit. And it was one of the characters runs outside of the church, and you just see this long, almost like the town's, it's not really a town square, but it's just like a main street kind of thing. Where you see all these buildings and then the street, and it's nighttime, it's all foggy. It then pans back to the church because there's the character there, and then it pans back, and you just see all these silhouettes on top of the buildings with glowing eyes. And it's like, ooh, that's a cool shot. I like that. How it was almost like a split second kind of thing. And then it's just boom, they're there. And so it was like, ooh, that's a cool shot. I like that. So the cinematography I liked. While there are jump scares, they don't play loud sounds with them. So it's not there's, character pops out and then they play that they just hit a huge drum or cymbals. They don't do that. So it feels very genuine in the moment. And which I feel lacking with jump scares, especially over the last 10, 20 years where that's pretty much jump scares, where it's just, you have a pulsating sound. So now you can't hear. And so it's just bad. This doesn't do that, which I liked. There are some genuinely creepy moments that I liked, especially I don't want to give away too much, but there's a part where a character is filling up a grave, and then just backs away, and then you just right before it cuts, you see a little head. Just slowly popping out of the grave, and then it cuts. So it's just it's there, and then it cuts. And it's slow too. And then when it cuts back, if you on the top of the screen, you see legs just floating up, and then it's gone. So it is very much one of those if you caught it, you saw it, but if you didn't, you totally missed it moments. And I was like, all right, to me, that's cool. That's cool. And it also does something I think a lot of horror movies do, and I think what should continue to do, and which is keep the audience one step ahead of the characters, that keeps that suspense going. It keeps that going don't go in there kind of thing. Oh, you stupid. And it's well, it's not because the characters are stupid, unless they purposely make it stupid, which then the writing is at fault. But it keeps you on edge and keeps you going, don't go in there or don't do that because you saw it. They didn't. So, it's not like it's not like something like, like a character knows something is bad down there and they're just like, oh, I'm just going to go anyway. It's just like they don't expect something bad to happen. So I feel like that should be in a lot of horror movies more, and I'm glad that this movie does that for the most part. I liked the score. The score. And actually, thanks to the trailer and this movie, which I don't know how I'm going to get the trailer not copyright claimed, it got me into the song Sundown by Lightfoot. I believe George Lightfoot. So it got me into that song, and I can't tell you how many times I've listened to that song after like watching this movie, because I'm just like, it's actually a pretty good song to go with the movie. Like that's actually really good. Like, nice work. Now into the bad. Some moments can feel a little predictable, especially when you've seen something like other vampire films. Like either you've seen the original miniseries of Salem's Lot or something like Midnight Mass, where that one kind of takes the vampire thing and puts it on its head, because it does something ballsy, which is it blends vampires with religion, and it does it very well. But also that's Flanagan. To me so far, he is one of the few directors where I don't think he has a bad movie or TV show. He's in that special elite group of filmmakers. And I love his stuff. But not even just in vampire films, but in like just typical horror films. It feels a little predictable at times where I'm like, okay, I can kind of tell what's going to happen. I can tell who's going to get killed off. Even for me, this may come to as a surprise, but I have not seen the original miniseries. I've seen like GIFs and like clips everywhere, but I haven't seen it in full. Eventually I will. So this was kind of going into new territory, and I was even going like, all right, I know you're probably going to get offed. You're probably going to get badly hurt, and then somehow you live. And 9 times out of 10, I was correct. Even though I hadn't seen the miniseries nor read the story, I kind of knew what was going to happen. So that took a little bit of the fun away, but, not as much. And I also will say, I've seen a lot of people talk about this, that the acting is so wooden and is so flat, and that the characters they act like robots. And I will say, there are times where I feel like that. I feel like, okay, you are a little bit dumb. Yeah, okay, that bit of dialogue was not very good. But if I had to compare to something like, probably like Beetlejuice, where I think the character writing on Jenna Ortega's character specifically, I thought was very poor. Where it's, if you've seen the film, or I'll link to my review at the end of this, it feels very much, how they treat her character is like, she meets like a nice boy. 5 minutes later, she's telling her family history about him. And I'm just like, what are you going to do next? Show him your credit card information? Show him your social security? If I met someone 5 minutes later, I'm not going to share them my private information, or just information where I'm like, you really want to give them that information the first 5 minutes you meet them? This one, it doesn't do that. But it does do kind of like okay. Like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say that. Like, especially like 5 minutes after meeting him. So yeah, some of the characters are a bit like, dude, like, yeah, you can just stop. You can stop that. But, you know, personally, I think this movie was a lot better than I think I was anticipating. And also, I think it's a lot better than a lot of people give it credit for. Is it the greatest Stephen King adaptation? Absolutely not. It's not even on that radar. Is it a terrible movie? No. I'll just put it this way. It's not on the Stephen King level of something like Misery and Shawshank. It's not even on the radar of something like Sleepwalkers or The Mangler or even Thinner, where I'm just like, who wrote this? Or like, why would they do this? This is somewhere like in between, where I wouldn't put this at like something like It, because I think It is way better than this. But trying to find another Stephen King movie, but like it's in the medium bar where it's like, I thought it was good, but it's not great. It's definitely not bad either. It's smack in between. And you could watch this as like a kind of disposable movie. And I do remember reading somewhere that someone said that this felt like a made-for-TV movie, which at times it does, but at times it doesn't. Mainly because, you know, James Wan is producing it, so it makes it look like it's a bigger film. And also somebody said it feels way too closer to the book, and I'm just like, I don't think you know how this goes. Like, that's supposed to be a good thing. So I don't understand what you're talking about. It's a good movie to watch, especially like around like, you know, like the Halloween season, and I enjoyed it. Like I said, I give it a low grade because I did have a lot of fun with it. But I do understand, like, this is not one of the best movies ever made. It's not even one of the best Stephen King movies ever made. But it's certainly not a terrible one.
Things have gone bad in the lot now.
Another sleepless night. Is it something more?